Phil Spencer. That name probably evokes some kind of emotion from you if you're a gamer. If you're an Xbox fan, you either love the guy or you hate the guy. I sort of have gone through both sides of the spectrum when it comes to Phil Spencer. Initially, I think that he is probably a decent guy overall, but he's been Xbox head for 10 years now, and what has he actually accomplished? Sure, I'm not going to bash him this whole video. I just kind of want to explain my point of view and why I've lost my trust and faith in the Xbox platform, and majority is his fault based on his decisions that didn't really pan out. Now, it's not all bad. I don't want everybody thinking that everything is bad. The Xbox One really kind of shot itself in the foot right away. That was Don Matrick. Phil Spencer, of course, was working at Xbox at the time and didn't speak up either, but Don Matrick was the one making the decisions, kind of forcing the Kinect and things like that. But I have to be honest, Phil Spencer did do some pretty nice things. He did the Xbox One S, which I thought was a very nice upgraded console compared to the original Xbox One, both in design, functionality, gave it a little more boost in power. He took out the Kinect, lowered the price by $100. He also made sure that the power narrative would never be a thing again when he announced the Xbox One X, and we got that beautiful beast in 2017. There's been things like the adaptive controller that's been really good. I know for me personally, I think maybe the backwards compatibility announcement was the one that I'll always kind of remember.
And while we weren't sure it was possible, today I'm pleased to announce Xbox One backward compatibility. Your Xbox 360 games, the games you've invested your time and money in, and the games you want to continue to be played, will be playable natively on your Xbox One.
That excitement from the crowd is just something that you don't really see anymore for Xbox, and not just because they don't really do things in person, but just because there's been less and less reasons to be excited about Xbox in general. I want to get started with the personal reason why I feel like Phil Spencer has kind of lied over and over again. There's lots of them that I want to get through, but I know it'll probably be a long video. And this one particular instance is probably the biggest lie, where Phil Spencer says he doesn't want to create a narrative that confuses people, where they don't know which games are going to be staying and which games are going to be going like multi-platform to Nintendo or PlayStation. Just listen to what he has to say real quick and understand my frustration that comes from these types of back and forth announcements that he does.
I will say that I think the individual IP by IP to different platforms, I can see can kind of get confusing to customers over time. You know, we've been learning, some of these have been, some of our development partners have really wanted to go do this, and we want to support the desires of our creative talent. So some of this has been partner led, but I think more and more about what does a full Xbox experience mean on different platforms. So that because right now it seems like when any game comes out, there's is this one going here, is this one going there? And I'd rather be able to set more of an Xbox level expectation for our fans.
So a couple of years ago, when he was on Podcast Unlocked on IGN, he wanted to set a better expectation for fans than, is a game going to go here or is a game going to go there? And you know, that is something that I think all of us could get behind. You know, we all wanted to see that, because now, unfortunately, all we're going to hear whenever there's a new game announced is, when is it going to go to Xbox, or when is it going to go to PlayStation, or when is it going to go to, you know, Nintendo or something along those lines. And unfortunately, those aren't the only bits and pieces. I know people are like, well, has he really lied? I think the lies are really starting to pile up, and the things that he's done that hasn't helped Xbox. Now, I've said this multiple times, as a head of Xbox for 10 years, he has spent like $100 billion and has taken Xbox from where they were at second place when the Wii U was out to third place, or significantly third to third, right? So in 10 years, $100 billion later, they're still in last place, right? And people will all try to say, well, they're making more money. Listen, anyone could have spent that money went third party, bought Activision, done all that same stuff, and made some sort of profit from it. So for me, like the things that he's done, like we've been without games for many years, and people go, well, how is that Phil Spencer's fault? How is that, anybody, how is that his fault? What did he do? How is that a lie? Look, Phil Spencer lies. He just does. And the lies pile up, and people don't even realize it. So some of the more easier lies to kind of pin down, when he announced the Xbox One X, it was VR compatible, and then all of a sudden they quickly pulled that, and he said nobody's asking for VR. Now, when it comes to games themselves, that's a little bit different story. Microsoft has had a long history of not providing games under Phil Spencer's leadership. Sunset Overdrive 2, right? We could have had a Sunset Overdrive 2. Insomniac Games did get bought by Sony, but well before that, they wanted to make a part 2, and Phil Spencer turned them down. So we have that weird situation where we have that lie on record. The funny thing is Phil Spencer also turned down Alan Wake 2 as being exclusive. Microsoft turned down Alan Wake 2 for various reasons. Phil Spencer was like, well, they got to want to do it. And to be honest with you, that was never the case. He just didn't... Personally, I heard, and we've seen that he maybe doesn't even like the IP. Also, we see people go, oh, well, Xbox, they don't need to sell Xboxes or whatever. Phil Spencer's on record. He wanted to sell as many Xbox Ones as possible back when he was promoted. His job was to save Xbox. And then now you got, oh, well, Microsoft doesn't care if you buy an Xbox. Microsoft says you don't need to buy an Xbox, so people aren't buying them, right? Let's just be real. People aren't buying them. His job was to save Xbox consoles, and he really, really did not do that, in my humble opinion. And other lies that he said and shared were Microsoft isn't abandoning Kinect, and then Kinect was dead like a year later. So, I mean, we can see that, the lies start to pile up against the man. Things that he did that really kind of ended up turning out bad. He had a chance to get exclusive Marvel games, right? Exclusive Marvel games, and he turned down the offer, right? Marvel went to them and wanted them to build exclusive Xbox Marvel games, and he said no. Even more recently, one day Phil Spencer is saying that he's supportive of physical games amid rumors that they've shifted to digital, and then Xbox physical game department got shut down as part of Microsoft layoffs. So, we live in this weird world where this stuff happens, and for whatever reason, Phil Spencer gets a free pass on all this stuff, and people don't like to hear it. I understand that, but you can see it. He said not every game is coming to PC, according to Phil Spencer, but guess what? Every Xbox game has gone to PC. He also talked about how the exclusives are important, console exclusives. He also said Bethesda games, all of the ZeniMax stuff, will only be on platforms where Game Pass exists. But last I checked, Tango Gameworks is Bethesda, and they just put Hi-Fi Rush, and they just put those games on there. So again, they confirmed that that games are going to PlayStation. This is not a good look for the head of Xbox, who was brought in to save Xbox. And I know people will go, oh, well, you got to get with the times. Wouldn't the industry, right? Like, because Phil Spencer always have this complex where it seems like he's trying to save the industry. Wouldn't the industry be much better off if there's 3 consoles that are selling very, very well? Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But if all 3 of these consoles were be selling well, then you can still branch out. Look, Sony is branching out. They're doing a lot of the same stuff that Microsoft is, but they don't make their console owners feel like second-class citizens. Xbox games are running best on PlayStation, right? We're getting skipped for exclusive games. Phil Spencer talks about Xbox consoles as if they're horrible or something, right? Like, oh, you don't really get in a type of the same type of experience that you would from a PC. We blah blah blah. Like, he doesn't make console gamers feel welcome or feel good about their product, and he's lied repeatedly. Every year he hyped up E3, and every year he let it down. I mean, he literally said that when they put games on PlayStation, that PlayStation uses that, and and basically spends that money to make games exclusive, to buy more exclusives to keep off Xbox. He said that the Bethesda ZeniMax thing was about giving exclusive games where Game Pass exists. This is a huge problem. Like, this guy lies, and he's been caught lying repeatedly. And, after 10 years, I think it starts to get a little old, and it starts to sting a little. I honestly not sure what to get from this video or what people will take from the video. I'm not some random hater. I want Xbox to be better. I want Xbox to be competitive, and I think that's the thing that I'm trying to get across to everybody. They're much better off. The industry's much better off with a competitor that's actually trying to sell consoles. If they were selling consoles, and they were at 60 million like PlayStation, how many Game Pass subscribers would they have? A lot more than they have now. How many games would they be selling? A lot more than they have now. It makes sense to put your games on Xbox, actually, at that point. So, maybe you guys see this video. See, I love Xbox. I want it to stick around. I don't want them to go belly up. Phil Spencer, like, even if he goes, I'm sure he'll just be replaced by somebody who's just like him. But after, how many of you guys could do this piss poor job for 10 years, spend all that money, and not see any improvement in your console or sales of games? All that stuff has gone down, sales of games and all that kind of stuff. How long would you stay employed like that? I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.